Hello, I'm Avaris. This is Pre-Odyssey, Odysseus, Penelope, and her ducks. Tomorrow I have to figure out how to slip out. Only 3 ducks accompanied her today. 1 cradled in her arms, 2 trailing her from behind. We're almost to the garden. The duck was about to quack when Penelope gestured the bird to keep it down. Her ducks were usually the noisy lot, so Penelope was never particularly difficult to find. Where there were duck noises, the duck girl would be there. Oh hey, we meet again! A familiar male voice called out from behind. Penelope turned to see the tall man and his friend. Hello there. Penelope just smiled. If she wasn't mistaken, they were Odysseus's friends. Wait, does that make them her friends too? What was that saying? A friend of a friend is a friend of mine too? Just let her dream. We haven't introduced ourselves, have we? My name's Ajax. This one's... He pointed to the black-haired man. Antilochus. I'm Penelope. His expression twisted into a grin. Hey, by any chance, do you know an Odysseus? Oh yes, I'm actually on my way to meet him. Antilochus's expression remained the same poker face, though his brows had noticeably furrowed. Then you must be the rumored duck girl who's received his attention. His attention? I thought it was a joke, but she really is followed by ducks. He mulled as he eyed her 3 ducky companions. So it's true? Man, I can't believe that guy. He really went up and switched his targets, huh? I mean, he never did seem interested when he came here. I could never understand what's going on in that guy's head. Penelope simply watched the 2 talked about Odysseus behind his back. This might be a good chance to ask others about Odysseus. Ask? Don't ask. Clearly we should ask! Excuse me. Immediately they stopped talking and turned to the girl. Would you mind telling me about Odysseus? More about him, I mean. Like, what is he like as a king? The 2 then looked at each other, then back to her. Huh. Guess that explains why Penelope here even bothers with him. She doesn't know, huh? Poor girl. She probably fell into his trap. He's a bigger scum than I thought. Why are they suddenly being ominous? The 2 looked at her with pity. They were definitely a look of pity. Could you 2 elaborate? Oh, right. Do you know why the title King of Ithaca sends shivers down people's spines? It does? Odysseus doesn't seem the type to send shivers. It's not because Ithaca is a big, strong region. In fact, Ithaca is just a small island over the sea from here. So they don't have many trade routes. It's far, the island is small, it's not really worth it to conduct business with them. Sounds like they have it hard there. Oh yes, they do. Ithaca isn't notorious for its strength or riches. Ithaca became notorious for its trickster king. Penelope blinked. Trickster king? Ajax nodded. Back then, many were against Odysseus taking over the throne since he was young, but one day the opposition disappeared. It didn't help that Ithaca was a far-off island, so news about the happenings there took a while to travel to the other islands. By the time news spread, the stories had already been twisted so no one could tell what really went on. Those who displeased Odysseus were said to just disappear. Nobody knows what he pulled, but he also managed to convince big merchants to conduct business with Ithaca. We've tried asking him, but he'd often dodge the question. That guy is careful, even when he's drunk. I swear, everything he does is calculated. The Odysseus I know doesn't sound like that at all. He's honest, kind, and fun. He can be mean sometimes, but he means well. Who? Him? Honest? He sounded like he was holding back his laughter. He's one of the biggest liars we know, Antilochus added bluntly. He's also cranky and sarcastic. The only one I can probably agree with is that he's fun. He makes the most entertaining stories. He added in agreement. Looks like you're all having fun without me. Ack! Don't scare me like that, man. Didn't you say the other day that my eyes are scary? So, fear me. have ears everywhere? He muttered. I just happened to hear it. Yes, and I was there. He really did just happen to hear it. His two other friends just stared at each other uncomfortably. It's not like they knew that he really did just coincidentally hear it. But they seemed convinced that he might have had other means. Anyway, nice meeting you, Penelope. He held out his hand. And in turn, Penelope returned his handshake. It was nice knowing you too. Antilochus was next. Penelope also shook his hand as soon as she finished with Ajax. Let's drink tonight, Odysseus. He waved before leaving with Antilochus. Odysseus sighed. They didn't trouble you, did they? Not at all. Like I said before, they were nice. I'm glad you're making more friends. Well, I figured since they're your friends, then they're mine too? How could you be so cute? Well, wait, what? What's mine is yours, is it? I guess I don't mind if it's you. You can take anything of mine. Why is he suddenly so relentless? Let's just go. Okay, come here. He held out his hand to her. Take his hand? Just move on. No, we're taking his hand. Penelope pursed her lips and took up Odysseus's offer. His hands were large and warm. She could tell that he practiced weapons. Her father's hands had the same roughness to them. I'd like to see how he wields them. Does he use swords, or perhaps he practices archery? She thought to herself. All right, let's go, he exclaimed with a bright and cheerful voice. She couldn't help but smile. The girl stared at their linked hands. Actually, I'd like to see him when he's working, or how he's like when he's with other friends. I'd like to see the other sides of him. I like him as a friend? Might have fallen for him. Oh, Penelope, you got feels, girl. I'm in love with him, aren't I? I've been meaning to ask, where are your other duckies? Usually you have about 10 of them trailing you, he said, watching the 3 waddle away into their own corner, as though giving the 2 some space. Huh? I left them back in my room. Are you feeling well? You're looking really red today. Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Uh-huh. He took her hand to pull her closer. The young man then placed a hand over her forehead. Too close! Too close! You're looking redder by the minute. Maybe we should call it a day for now and have you rest. It's, maybe he's right. My thoughts are all jumbled right now. But I do want to spend more time with him. Hup. Suddenly, Odysseus carried the girl in his arms. The 3 ducks, who were off on their own, must have heard the girl squeal, so they waddled back to the 2. Don't worry, guys, I'm just taking her back to your place. Glad you agree. Actually, they told you to put me down. It's fine, he's just worried. She addressed the ducks. Well then, let's get you back. I hope no one sees us like this. There we go. Careful now. As soon as she set foot in her room, the ducks surrounded her like children greeting their mother. Yes, I'm back. I hope you all behaved yourselves. She bent down and stroked each one of the ducks that approached her. Penelope then turned her attention back to Odysseus. Thank you for helping me up. Better than you getting into an accident climbing up here. I'll drop just by again tomorrow to pick you up. Oh, actually, maybe not tomorrow? I, would like to take the day off. Yes, that's it. Alright, I guess you don't exactly look well right now. She nodded, a little too enthusiastically. He proceeded to ruffle her head. Get that well-deserved rest. Next time I'd like to hear about you. Me? I want to know more about you too, you know.
Oh, well, there's nothing interesting about me.
Really? A girl who can understand duck language is not interesting.
There's not much I can tell you about that.
Stare.
Fine. I promise I'll think of something.
Great, looking forward to that. I guess, see you all the day after tomorrow.
Bye. Each bird said their goodbyes, too. Odysseus gave one of the ducks a head pat before climbing back down. Penelope maintained a smile until he's really gone. And then she just collapsed on her bed. Ah, children, what do I do? I think I'm in love with Odysseus. At one of the ducks' reply, she quickly sat up from the bed. What? You knew? The bird replied as a matter-of-factly. It's obvious, but that can't be. I only fell in love today. The other one replied, unamused. What do you mean I fell in love at first sight? Hearts in my eyes? That's why you all urged me to talk to him? Have you been playing matchmaker all along? They played as her literal wingmen. I can't believe the ducks figured it out before I did. She plopped backward and buried her face on the bed, and then screamed to her heart's content. After a short moment of wallowing in self-induced despair, the girl started up an important meeting with her ducks. So, I'm in love. What now? There's no way Odysseus would like me back. Tell me what? Ouch! Suddenly, one of the ducks slapped her with its wing. Yes, you're right. Once Helen chooses a suitor, it might be unlikely for us to see each other again. And I could regret this forever. But what do I do? Excuse me? Find his weakness. Knowing your enemy is the first rule in love and war? No pain, no gain?
Sounds foul. Reasonable. We should totally gather intel.
The next day. There he is, she whispered while hiding behind a pillar. He was accompanied by Ajax and Antilochus. You did well finding him. It sure is convenient being able to access the skies. This time, she only had one duck accompanying her. Operation Odysseus Survey, commence. Have you received reports from the others? Oh, good. Make sure to report if anyone else is nearby. The bird did a salute, somehow. Penelope nodded, before finally turning her attention back to Odysseus and friends. I didn't really think this through. What exactly are we looking for here? Meanwhile...
I'm still surprised you agreed to hang out with us today. We never see you lately. Well, I'd rather not see your ugly mugs. Man, you're always so mean.
Ajax put on an annoyingly sly smile on his face.
Ooh, I get it. You got dumped by Penelope, didn't you?
She barely managed to keep herself from making a sound.
Looks like you got it right.
Antilochus clapped unenthusiastically.
Ha! Welcome to the club!
He wrapped an arm around Odysseus' neck.
Tonight, we drink. Your treat, of course.
Odysseus pulled away from Ajax while wearing a very annoyed expression, which, by the way, was the first time for Penelope to see from him. He's usually smiling around me, so I never see him this upset.
I didn't get dumped, you little he hissed. Just mind your own business. Instead of prying into my affairs, shouldn't you worry about the one you're actually courting?
Is it just me, or does he sound different? Ajax just chuckled once again, making an annoying expression. One that screams, "Sure, you didn't get dumped." Sarcasm. If it'd make you shut your trap, she wasn't feeling well yesterday, so she's resting today. But she looked fine yesterday. Antilochus broke his silence, only to land a critical hit. Yikes, she was obviously avoiding you then. Big oof, man. Still up for that drink? His tone was definitely not consoling. He was rubbing it in Odysseus' face. And Penelope wasn't picking any of their not-so-subtle jabs at him. They weren't wrong, though. She wanted to avoid him because she needed to collect her thoughts. Look. He scratched the back of his head. There is nothing going on between us. We're just friends. So, he only thinks of me as a friend. Of course. What else did I expect? Ajax and Antilochus blinked. That's an unusual friendship, especially coming from you. In retrospect, I also do wonder why I'm even friends with you two. I wonder that too. You're a terrible person. Antilochus raised a hand. I also wonder that. You two are terrible people. Well, I guess we just stuck with each other. A bunch of terrible guys. Let's drink our sorrows away. You really don't plan on dropping that, do you? Hey, any day is a good day to drink. Especially when we're celebrating the pain of someone else. Terrible human indeed. Less than human. More like trash. You guys are mean. That's what friends are for. Are you like that to poor Penelope too, then? Well, he is also mean to me sometimes, but he's nice most of the time. Oh. She said I'm nice even when I'm being mean to her. He said it as a matter-of-factly. Huh. The two stare at him in disgust. What? He snarled, obviously annoyed by their sudden silence. Oh, I was just trying to imagine you being nice. But you're scary when you're acting nice. You I'm not acting. Ugh. At least not in front of her. I'm nice to her because she makes me want to be nice. If I make the two of you, it's because you two are So, he's only being nice for me? You disgusting two-faced trickster. Empty-headed brute. Biggest scum of Greece. Good-for-nothing drunkard. I've been forgotten. Somehow, watching them like that could only make Penelope smile. The Odysseus in front of her right now was different from the one she knew. She liked him even more now. Disliked him now. Ugh. We're all in on Odysseus. Liked him even more because that's the we'll see how this turns out. Probably terribly, but you know, we'll see what ending we get. But we're all in on Odysseus, so it's fine. It's fine. Besides, they're a bunch of jerks just being friends. It's possible. It's fine. It's fine. What's dislike gonna do? Oh, liked him. But she didn't dislike it. In fact, it was endearing. So he can be cranky like that. Cute. Oh, we have to move. Hey, we have a stray over here. The forgotten Antilochus seemed to have slipped away at some point and had grabbed her by the wrist from behind. Of course, she had been busted. Everyone had seen this coming, right? Penelope? Hi? This little one says hi too.
She's interpreting the duck. That's precious.
He definitely was thinking that she's just making a guess. Penelope had forgotten that only Odysseus had known about her ability to communicate with ducks, and that no one ever believes her when she says she could understand them. She retreated behind her veil, embarrassed.
Ugh.
He marched over to Antilochus and pulled off his hand from Penelope's.
Sorry. Don't tease her,
he said bluntly. Ajax and Antilochus suddenly pursed their lips.
Sorry about those two. They don't have tact. Hey, do you have anything to say? No, nothing,
he said quietly, pursing his lips again. It's okay. I'm fine.
Good.
He places his hand over her shoulders and gently pushed her with him.
So, we're going now. Looks like she was feeling well after all.
Huh? But... The duck also chimed in, confused.
Already? But I'd like to have a chat with the little lady. I always thought that you're rather pretty.
He winked at Penelope. What? She let out a tiny squeak, flustered. Odysseus frowned.
No.
Yes. Odysseus stood before the girl protectively.
That was an awesome effect. Just by the way. Antilochus is fine, but Ajax is just gonna make her feel uncomfortable. Thanks for the vouch.
Antilochus raised a thumbs up.
Why just me? Figure it out yourself.
He sneered.
Let's just go.
Odysseus whispered close to her ear. The girl felt his warm breath pass her cheeks. Her face flushed, which she tried to hide with her veil. So she just ended up nodding. Having seen her confirm, Odysseus took her hand and pulled her along. And the two, plus the duck, left.
What just happened?
Antilochus shrugged.
We got ditched. I think the ship will sail. I'm betting on it sinking. You really are a terrible friend. Either way, I do wish them luck.
Penelope had covered her face all throughout the walk to the garden. Her head was swimming with thoughts. Was he angry over her lying about not feeling well? Was he upset that she was listening in on them? Will this be the end of their friendship? Obviously not, but she couldn't help but be consumed by her anxiety.
Breathe.
Suddenly they stopped, and that was all Odysseus said.
Breathe,
he repeated. The second one made Penelope snap out of her trance and had her take a deep breath.
That's it. In and out. Just relax.
Following his voice, the girl managed to calm down after a couple of more sessions.
There we go. You looked so pale for a moment there, you know?
She could only hang her head low. I'm sorry for trailing you.
Huh? I was planning to drop that topic and pretend it never happened.
The girl shook her head. No, that was wrong of me, wasn't it?
Well, it doesn't bother me much. Or, I guess it does. You saw it, didn't you? Ah, shit. That was embarrassing.
Huh?
I was in a terrible mood. People say I get really cranky when I do.
Are you lying, Odysseus? Are you lying to look good in front of Penelope? You were.
Shit, you really did see.
Well, I thought you were cute.
What?
I found you cute? I saw a new side of you and I found it endearing.
Well,
that shut him up. I wonder if I should.
Confess. Keep the silence going.
Oh my goodness. I want to confess, but maybe it's too soon. It might be too soon. You know? Oh geez, I can't decide. And I also don't know how close we are to the end or not. Like, if this is endgame, then confessing would probably mean the love ending. Otherwise, letting the silence keep going might mean we lapse into, like, the friendship end. I'm gonna have to risk it, though. Because it doesn't feel right. It feels like there should be more time. But they also said he's leaving soon.
YOLO, we're confessing. True feelings, out in the open. Come on, Penelope.
I love you.
Odysseus immediately looked up. Huh?
I said I love you. I think I've fallen in love with you. I know you think of me as a friend, but I want you to know how I feel. Because I know I'd regret it if I... Suddenly, he threw his arms around her.
How are you able to always make me this happy? I thought I had no chance.
But what?
I couldn't make a read of you. You seemed so happy to have friends, so I thought it'd be fine to stay that way. I didn't want to ruin it for you.
Odysseus. It's funny. I thought the same. I thought I had no chance with you, and that you only saw me as a friend. Odysseus then finally let her go.
Well, birds of a feather.
I suppose.
So...
What now?
I talked to your father to arrange our engagement, I guess.
Oh dear, right. There's no way he'd approve of this. Especially when I've been disobeying him. He did ask her to stop meeting with Odysseus, which was exactly what she's doing now.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Penelope looked up. You would?
I've got this. You have nothing to worry about. Trickster King, he's got this in the bag. So don't cry. You cry easily, huh?
It's not my fault. My mother was a water nymph, so I can't help it.
Oh, is that how it works?
I think.
Is that why you can talk to ducks, too?
Cue in the duck chiming from the background. They said Penelope is Penelope, so she can talk to ducks. I'm hardly the only child of a water nymph, so...
Then I guess we'll leave it at that. Either way, I'm glad to learn something new about you.
Oh, right. I did promise to talk about myself to him.
There's just something we have to agree on, though. I'd like to bring you home to Ithaca.
Huh? You don't want to stay here? In this time, it was more common for the man to move in with the woman, rather than the other way around. And in turn, the man will inherit the throne from his wife's father. Odysseus was practically relinquishing his right to the Spartan throne.
Well, I'd like to make you Queen of Ithaca instead. I only have a sister, and my father is already retired, so I'd like to continue being their king. I hope you understand. I know I might be asking a lot, since it would mean that you would be far away from your family and Oh wait, you don't have the latter.
It's fine. Penelope pouted, but she answered almost immediately, ignoring the extra comment. I'm actually not close to my father or siblings. Besides, I'll have you.
Well, if you say so. I wouldn't have thought, though. I mean, your father is quite attached with you.
Well, this and that.
I guess that's a story for another time, then. Either way, you have no idea how happy I am right now.
Not happier than I am.
Okay, fine, you win. You'll always be the winner in my book.
And thus, Odysseus was granted Prince Icarius' approval to marry Penelope. Together, they lived happily ever after. The end.
As if it were that easy. Absolutely not! The towering man roared. You're not even giving me a chance? You alone are enough trouble, but you wish to bring her to Ithaca as well? That is out of the question.
As he had promised Penelope, Odysseus tried to negotiate with her father for her hand, but it obviously wasn't going well.
That's not fair.
He huffed.
Didn't you at least challenge her other suitors? I'm willing to take that bet as well. No means no. Give it up, Odysseus. I'm not giving you my daughter. But she wants this. We love each other.
He spoke in all seriousness.
Bah!
He waved his hand dismissively.
That poor child is naive. She knows nothing of the world. I'm only doing what's best for her. Then why don't you tell her that? Tell her why we're a terrible match. Tell her all the lies I've poured on her. Make her reevaluate her decision, if you can. I'm willing to wait, no matter how long. And if she doesn't change her mind after that, no means no. Just give her up. This ends our negotiation.
Man, so heavy-handed. Without letting Odysseus have another word in, the man turned around and left.
I didn't expect much, but man. What a shitty old man. How is someone like that Penelope's father? He's just pushing on what he wants. I mean, sure, Ithaca is a backwater province. We have goats and sheep walking around our palace. But Penelope wouldn't mind, right? Right? Oh, she totally wouldn't. She loves ducks, so, you know, goats and sheep. Oh, she'd be wild about it. She'd be fine. It'd be awesome. You guys are made for each other. You agree, don't you? Oh yeah, the duck clearly agrees.
The bird flapped its wings.
I have no idea what you're saying.
He laughed to himself.
Now then, I don't want to disappoint her. And I'm sure that shitty old man's not gonna say a word to her. That, or he'll tell her that I'm dumping her or some shit like that.
The duck is trying to tell you something, Odysseus. Pay attention! The duck patted him on the leg.
I'm guessing you're consoling me. Thanks, buddy. Now then, I have a job for you.
He bent down to the duck's level. It had been 2 days since Penelope had seen Odysseus. The girl hadn't left her room since then. If anything, she was just hoping for any form of news from him, which was why she had left one of her ducks with him. I'm nervous. I wonder if he managed to convince Father. You're right. I should trust in him, she said to herself. But knowing Father, he will likely do that, won't he? It's not the first time I've had a suitor. Not that I've ever actually met any of them. But I've heard that a number of men had come for my hand in marriage before, and Father refused them all. A weird duck girl she may be, Penelope was still a daughter of a king, so it was no wonder that there were still those who had flocked on her. By challenging them to a foot race. You believe that Odysseus can win? Yes, I hope he can pull through. Just then, a duck came through her window. Really? He did it? That's what he told you to say? What does that mean? The duck shrugged. He said to just trust in him?
Trust him. Don't trust him. We absolutely trust him. Odysseus all the way.
Then I will.
Why did you call me out here? King of Ithaca, if you are planning to use my niece, you'd better think twice. I'll tell you now, it would not bode well. You will just generate the ire of my brother. Oh, Tyndareus, what kind of greeting is that? Cat got your tongue? You suddenly went quiet there. I really do despise talking with you. As do I. Though your concern is wholly unnecessary, because your brother do seem to hate me already. But I must admit, I dislike him even more. There was one thing you got absolutely wrong, though. I am not using Penelope, but whether you believe me or not is up to you.
Tyndareus lifted his brow, as if expressing doubt in Odysseus's words.
I know what you're thinking. That I'm trying to get close to Penelope to get to Helen, yes. Or perhaps that Penelope is the perfect consolation prize next to the unattainable Helen. Is that not what you are truly after? You, not bringing any gift, not showing any interest, not making a move. They are all uncharacteristic for the cunning trickster of Ithaca. Believe what you will, but aside from her face, I find nothing of interest in Helen. She simply isn't my type. And I assure you, I have no interest in the Spartan throne. Oi, you have guts talking about my daughter like that. The more reason for you to believe this supposed liar, yes? If I just wanted to get on your good side, I'd be flattering you to no end. You. Well, I wouldn't want you near Helen anyway. The feeling's mutual. Your past few words would have been enough to launch 1,000 ships. But you wouldn't, right? See? Of course I'm right. I'm always right. I must admit, your hubris is unbelievable. Why, thank you. That wasn't a compliment. I'll take it as one anyway.
The other king clicked his tongue. It wasn't difficult to notice that he was annoyed. Or rather, he wasn't even trying to hide that he was annoyed. He wanted Odysseus to know that he was.
Enough idle chatter. I called you out here to make a deal. I am not making any deals with a trickster like you. Even if it's beneficial for the both of us. I can provide you the solution for your daughter's suitors, and strengthen your position as king. I assure you, this is worth your while. So fancy to listen to me first before you make any rash decisions. Tyndareus took a sharp breath. For a moment he stood in silence as if considering the other's offer. Very well, listen. I will only listen. Good enough for me? I know of your plight. You are afraid to choose a suitor for Helen, yes? Because picking one could easily offend the others. The man let out a grunt. It was an unconscious confirmation. Odysseus simply continued, ignoring the reaction. I could offer you a solution for that. In exchange, I only ask that you to take my side and give me aid to help me win over Penelope.
The older man blinked.
Hold on. You're actually serious about my niece? That dull girl who smells of ducks? Who are you calling dull?
Tyndareus flinched.
Even if you were her uncle, I wouldn't be so keen on letting that slide. Oh, I apologize.
His voice wavered. A drop of sweat trickled down his forehead.
Hold on, why am I the one apologizing?
He whispered under his breath.
Why then? Why are you so pressed on pursuing her? Is it not obvious? I've fallen in love with her. That's... Huh? You're really serious? What, am I not allowed to fall in love? Well, no, I mean... Why her? That's none of your business, old man. Oh.
For a moment there, Odysseus noticeably faltered.
However, your brother doesn't seem like he'd let his favored daughter go. He shrugged. I wish to take her with me to Ithaca. If I do, that means one less contender for the throne, yes? After all, for them it was more common for the man to move in with their wife. I don't know. Either way, it's part of the story and it's cool. We'll go with it. And the husband would in turn inherit the throne. As of now, Tyndareus and Icarius shared the throne as brothers. But with Odysseus' offer, taking away Penelope meant that he's reducing Icarius' potential heirs, consolidating more power for Tyndareus. So I take your niece, while you get to solve your daughter's suitor woes. And as a bonus, your family's position on the throne is strengthened. All intents are clear. Everyone wins, no? Except for your brother, but I don't like him anyway.
Tyndareus bit his lips. Indeed, that man offered him nothing but benefits. Unless he had an ulterior motive to taking Penelope's hand, there really weren't any downside to this. The worst that could come out of it was earning Icarius' ire for taking the side of a man he disliked for his daughter. But that was a small price to pay compared to everything Odysseus was offering.
Then, let's hear it. How do you intend to pick a suitor for my daughter without causing infighting? I'll take that as a deal, then? I'd like to hear a yes.
Tyndareus fell silent, as if weighing his options. After a short moment of silence, he finally spoke.
Yes, very well. You have yourself a deal.
Good choice.
The solution is simple. Announce that Helen will be making her decision. Before she does, make them carry out an oath that they must respect her decision, and that all the other suitors are to protect the one she chooses. If one makes a move or objects after the decision has been made, they will end up making an enemy of everyone. I doubt anyone is stupid enough to risk it. And even if anyone is actually that foolish, then you will have all those who made the oath behind your back. I'll run you through the finer details, but this should solve everything, no?
Tyndareus nodded along. In short, they will have to pledge an oath if they wish to be one of the candidates for Helen. And when one is chosen among the candidates, everyone who made the pledge would have become allies with the chosen one for her. It was a method that forces her suitors to become allies with each other. On surface, the oath looked good in intent. There would be no reason for them not to take it. Yet breaking their pledge later on would not only paint them in a bad light, but also earn them enemies.
Yes, yes!
The older king mulled.
Goodness, what a simple yet effective plan! Why hadn't I thought of that?
He spoke to himself in awe.
Well then, let me gather some materials to take down your instructions. I'll be right back.
The man suddenly sounded much more energetic than how he was just a moment ago. As if a huge burden had been lifted off his shoulders.
Of course, I'll be waiting here.
And he watched the man walk off.
He's so easy. Whatever happened to not wanting to make a deal with a trickster? I hope Quikiles has delivered my message. Everything is going according to plan.